Rose! Sam watched as Rose sank to the floor, her head lolling back, and he just managed to catch her in his arms before she hit the deck. Her face looked too pale, a scattering of freckles across her nose like gold dust. He remembered once trying to kiss every single one, while Rose had laughed and squirmed away. And now she was slumped against him, pliant and boneless, and very much unconscious. "Rose," he said again, desperately, and she didn't so much as stir, sagging in his arms like she was a bowl full of jelly. He scooped her up, even pregnant, she was tiny, and carefully laid her on the divan. Now what? He was usually pretty good in a crisis. When they'd run into a thunderstorm on top of Kilimanjaro, he hadn't panicked at all. Why was he freaking out over a single woman who had fainted? Because she's pregnant with your baby and you basically acted like an arse. In retrospect, he could see that the questions he'd asked about the baby being his and why she hadn't texted instead might have been slightly insensitive, but he'd been shocked by the news and stung by her insistence that she wasn't asking him for anything. You don't need to be involved. It had brought him right back to their goodbye in Tairua, when he'd fumbled through saying he still cared and he wanted to keep in touch, and she'd looked as if he'd just spat on her. It's been fun, but... right. Not only had she not wanted to keep in touch, she also didn't want him involved in their child's life. It was hard not to let that hurt, at least a little bit. Had Rose known she was pregnant when they'd said goodbye? That had only been 8 weeks ago. She was 17 weeks now. He could do the math, but did women who were 9 weeks along know it? He would have to ask Althea, except he did not want to ask his bossy, interfering older sister anything, although he had a feeling she would be asking him a lot. He had a lot of questions for Rose, though, if she'd just wake up. Rose. Gently he touched her cheek. It was soft and cool. Rose, can you hear me? Her eyelids fluttered once, showing a flash of green and gold, and then closed again. She breathed in deeply, as if she were asleep. Did people stay unconscious for this long? It had to have been a couple of minutes at least. What if she'd hurt her head? Except she hadn't even hit her head. He'd caught her before then. What if she'd had a stroke or something awful like that? Rose. Nothing.